Hey, it's Jen Thoden. This lesson is the history of color analysis. So we're going to go through a brief history of color analysis and how your color style came about. You may be surprised to learn that color analysis, as you know it today, is based on very basic color theory principles that have gone as far back as the early 1700s. The first color wheel was created by Sir Isaac Newton in 1706, where he put the colors of the spectrum onto a color wheel. Fun fact, when you spin that color wheel, he had put it onto a disc. It actually goes white and your eye can't actually see the colors. So that was the very first color wheel. In the first decade of the 20th century, a professor named Albert Munsell defined a 3D system for color. This became known as the Munsell color system. There are three qualities or attributes that he defined with a color. That is the hue, the value, and the chroma. And you are soon going to learn that every color analysis system is based on the Munsell color system, those three qualities. Then came the four seasons. Now, a lot of people know Carol Jackson and know all about seasonal color analysis from the popularity that she brought to color analysis with the seasons. But seasonal color analysis was actually created by a Swiss color theorist called Johannes Itten. This particular artist in the early 1900s divided the color wheel into four quadrants. He associated these color palettes with four types of people and then named them the seasons. So when you look at the color wheel, he divided the sections into the warm side of the color wheel, the cool side of the color wheel, light at the top and dark at the bottom. And as you can see in this slide, he then labeled them spring, which is warm and light, summer, which is cool and light, autumn, which is warm and dark, and winter, which is cool and dark. Johannes Itten believed that the four quadrants of color, those color palettes, would be in harmony with four types of people. And so in the early 1900s, seasonal color analysis was created. Since then, in the 1980s, as I said before, Carol Jackson came out with Color Me Beautiful, which really popularized seasonal color analysis, and she divided those four seasons into 12 seasons using the Munsell's color system. Now, when you look at the 12 seasons, you'll hear words like clear, soft, light, deep, all from the original four seasons. But what's interesting is that even though now we have 12 different color palettes, 12 seasons, some individuals still didn't fit into those 12 seasons. So then comes the 4x4 color system, and this was created by Ferial Youakim. Her company is called by Ferial Image Consulting, and she went back to the Munsell color system and reapplied it to the 12 seasons and created 16 seasons. So now that every single season has a tint, a shade, a tone, and so on. And so now we have 16 seasons. And that's a lot. And so what I discovered and how your color style came about is I actually studied the 12 color season system, the 16 color season system, and actually a couple other different types of color analysis systems that aren't really named or popularized, but based on the Munsell color system. And what I discovered as I studied these systems is that the color palettes between each of the types were very similar, and in some cases almost the same. And what was lacking in the systems is the reason why. Why this particular color palette versus another color palette when they're so similar? And it caused a lot of confusion. I started to get a lot of questions around, I don't know, am I a warm autumn or am I a warm spring? I can't tell the difference. Or when the introduction of soft came into a spring, then you now have soft spring versus soft autumn. And it got really confusing with very similar terms, very similar colors, and not enough clarity for anyone to really know where exactly they fit. So I broke it down into the basics again and reintroduced the Munsell color system, thinking about it a little bit differently, which is what you're going to learn in this certification course. You're going to learn that the first thing that we look at when we look at an individual is their chroma, where most of the time in other color systems, we look at the undertones first. So we're going to get into all those details, but I wanted to help you understand where this came from and for you to know that everything that is in color analysis is built on something from a previous attempt and from the past. Even Color Me Beautiful was not original. It was based on history and an original idea of seasons, and that was based on a color wheel that was created in the early 1700s. So all color systems are based on that 3D system, and that is what we're going to dive into next when we talk about color theory and then the methodology of your color style.